good, everybody? Here's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. And guys, I have a very controversial topic today, and many people know where I stand on this, and unfortunately many people, or a lot of people, disagree with me, but it is on this subject of dealing in interracial relationships, or dealing with mixed race relationships in the black community. All right, and I want to talk about it from the standpoint of Terry Crews. And Terry Crews, you know, about a week or so ago, he was talking about that he was afraid that defeating white supremacy would create black supremacy, okay? And that, you know, we have gatekeepers in black America. And, you know, he thinks that black supremacy should not be important, or white supremacy should not be important. In all reality, we are all one. We should just be, you know, the same people, and, you know, kind of that kind of situation there. And, you know, it's kind of like, you know, the kind of we shall overcome kind of talk that, you know, that some people in America have. You know, Cardi B has voiced her opinion about this. You know, many others that share in the same limelight of thinking, all right? And Terry Crews was ridiculed for making those comments, all right? And Terry Crews, though, brings up a very interesting point. And he says that it's not only his thought process that has kept him out of many conversations. It's the fact that he has a mixed race wife that's kept him out of a lot of black conversations, right? And so let me just kind of just talk about this. He says here, we have people who have decided who is going to be black and who's not. And I simply, because I have a mixed race wife, have been discounted from the conversation a lot of the time by very militant movements, the black power movement. I've been called all kinds of things like an Uncle Tom, simply because I'm successful, simply because I've worked my way out of Flint, Michigan. Blackness is always judged. It's always put up against this thing, and I'm going, wait a minute. That right there is a supremacist move. You have now put yourself above all other black people. And he also talked about this, you know, he doesn't regret what he said. He says, I can't regret what I said previously, in many words, because I want the dialogue to come out. Maybe it's another term that might be better, or separatists or elitists or something like that, right? I'll just stop right there. And the reason why I'm going to stop right there is because he brings out several interesting points, all right? And points, rather. And there is an idea that if you think a certain way, you are not black. Okay, let's just call it what it is. That's true. We know that that's to be true. But he makes a interesting point about that, as far as there are certain levels of what is accepted to be black or African American, who's a sellout, who's not. That is the truth. But one thing I don't agree with him is that he says that if you're with a mixed race person, there's some level of gatekeeping in the black community. Well, I'll talk about this. Terry Crews, last year or a year and a half ago, got into it with popular filmmaker, YouTuber Tariq Nasheed, and there was a back and forth between the two of them. You know, both of them are in the LA area. Everybody knows that Tariq Nasheed's wife is of a mixed race. Okay, she's black father, white mother. The thing is that 90% of black people would consider a black woman, or a woman that's a mixed race, or a person that's a mixed race, they would consider them black. The biggest problem comes into the conversation as far as what Terry Crews was talking about, and it's not the fact that his wife is mixed or anything. Don't get me wrong. You have some people that will talk about colorism in the black community, but let's just be honest. The real problem comes from people who talk black but are in interracial relationships. This is the person who is a black person with a white person, black person with a Latino person, black person with an Asian person, but their rhetoric is like real militant pro-black language. Those are the people that are going to come against the most scrutiny. Your Shannon Sharps, your Van Jones, your Don Lemons. All right. Those are the people who are going to come across the biggest criticisms. They're social media influencers, both men and women, that are black and talk very pro-black situations, but they're not with black people. So those are the people who have the most problems, right? And we got to understand that whether we like it or not, there is a code to this. And we got to be very clear. There are rules to the game. The black community has its own rules too. And the rules are, if you are somebody that, and it's different from the African community, for example, you can be a person, I'm in Uganda right now, right? It's totally okay for you to be a Ugandan or a Kenyan and marry somebody, out of the race, and your impact in the community is still, you're still considered one of the people. Doesn't work like that in black America, all right? If you marry a person that is not black, even me, for example, if I marry a woman that's African, it's still not the same as me marrying a woman that's African American. We don't want to talk about it. We could talk about Pan-Africanism all day and night. The fact is that the African American community would much more appreciate you marrying an African American person. We don't want to talk about this. This is how it works. If you can't get an African American person, then that person should be black British, Nigerian, Jamaican, Caribbean, on and on, right? And you might be able to have the same level of respect. Once you get into the mixed race, it gets iffy. And then if you get into interracial, you're done. I don't make the rules, but those are the rules. It was like that before I was born. Those are going to be the rules when I pass. All right? There have been people who've had their legacies tarnished because of their dealings with people of other races in the black community. We don't want to talk about this, right? But, we could talk about Frederick Douglass. No matter all of his things, people will come after him because he had a white wife at the end of his relationship, of his life. Doesn't mean a whole lot to me, right? Because he had a black wife and, people can fall in love with whoever, right? And it doesn't mean that because, you're not fighting against racism that, that you can't, that you don't, that it is like a white woman or white men or anything like that. I can understand that. But that your opinions are discounted. That's how it is. And if you want your opinions to be counted in black America, then you better play by the rules. Candace Owens right now has zero opinion in black America. I'm going to tell you why. The opinion is loud and it rings. Nobody takes it serious. She could be right. Want to know why? Who she's married to. We don't want to talk about that, but that's just how it is. She's looked at as a person that is compromised. You have people right here on YouTube. Huge platforms that talk about black stuff. Many times, they're right. They're not married to black people. Their opinions are compromised. You have people on television. Many times, they're right. Kyrie Irving is right. Shannon Sharp is right. But when you're on a boat full of, white women like Kyrie Irving with no black women allowed, and then all of a sudden you want to switch up and then you want to not play in the NBA and start all black league, guess what? Now your opinions become a little compromised. They're discounted. There's discontinuity. And when you're African American, that's the price you gotta pay. We don't want to talk about this. Anybody that tries to do that, look at what's the guy that has the grill? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? His name is Byron Allen. Discounted. Has a white wife. Nothing that he can do for black people will ever be enough. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules. All right? Robert Smith gave all that money to people in Morehouse. Billionaire. Worth $5 billion. First wife was like black and I don't know, light skin. This wife he has, white. Guess what? Opinion not needed. Discounted. He's relegated to just giving money. That's the rules. Those are the rules. African Americans, those are our rules. Barack Obama, had he came into America, black America, with a white wife, he would have never got the black vote. And let's be honest, he would have never got the white vote. People like black people that stick together with their own. Nobody wants to talk about this, right? That's just what it is. And people value your opinion more when you're married to your own people. If you don't play by those rules, there are consequences. And the consequences is that your voice on things, no matter how right you are, it comes back to you're not married to a black person. So your input is less. Those are the rules. But see, here's the situation. Those are also the same rules that white people have. Asians have. Indians have. The pro-blacks that are militant, they're doing the same things that everybody else does. So Terry Crews with this whole idea that, well, I'm being discounted. No, you're being discounted because you're an idiot. But there is a level of discontinuity because people date interracial or date mixed. Those are truths. And unfortunately, like Martin Luther King, and you guys don't believe this, he fell in love with a German lady. Can't marry the German lady because the black community won't accept it. And today, the black community doesn't accept it. And the black community will never accept it. For the most part. We all know that this is true. And I don't make the rules. They're just how they are. Guys, it's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson. Subscribe, hit the bell. First comment pinned to the top. I really appreciate you brothers and sisters for supporting the platform. And I really, really thank you guys so much. Check out the Black Men Are Perfect t-shirts. Really thank you for those. As you guys know, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Patreon. And thank you for all that you do. Peace out.